Donald Trump has just escalated tensions with America's northern neighbor again. First, tariffs. Then, a trade war. And now, a wild claim that Canada should just join the US? Yes, you heard that right. Could this be a bold negotiation tactic, or is it a serious geopolitical shift in the making? And most importantly, what does this mean for you? Let's break it all down. Do you think Canada could ever become America's 51st state? Or is this just another political stunt? Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to stay updated on the biggest global stories. This is Elite Global Watch, where we simplify the complex and reveal the hidden. The tariff war begins. It all started with a signature. With a stroke of his pen, Donald Trump slapped a massive 25% tariff on Canadian imports, claiming it was necessary to tackle illegal immigration and national security threats. But was this really about security? Or was it an economic power move? And if that wasn't enough, Trump also targeted Canada's energy sector, hitting it with a 10% tariff, a strategic move to avoid complete economic collapse but still apply pressure. But Canada wasn't about to back down. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau fired back, slapping a 25% tariff on US goods, including everyday essentials like beer, wine, fruits, vegetables, clothing, and household appliances. That's right, your favorite American brands just got a whole lot more expensive in Canada. And the result? Higher prices, disrupted supply chains, and uncertainty for businesses on both sides of the border. American consumers are bracing for price hikes, while Canadian businesses are scrambling to find alternatives. This is more than just a trade dispute, it's an economic battlefield. Trump's bold claim, make Canada the 51st state. As if a trade war wasn't enough, Donald Trump dropped a bombshell, suggesting that Canada could just join the United States to avoid tariffs. Yep, you heard that right. Trump floated the idea that America's northern neighbor should become the 51st state. It didn't take long for Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to fire back. And let's just say, he didn't hold back. His response? Quote, not a snowball's chance in hell. But why did this idea cause such an uproar? Well, for one, Canada has spent nearly 2 centuries rejecting US annexation efforts. Back in the 1800s, American politicians dreamed of absorbing Canada into their growing empire, but Canadians weren't having it. They chose their own path, building a strong economy, universal healthcare, and a distinct national identity. So even if Trump wants to make Canada great again by bringing it under the US flag, there's one problem: it's legally and politically impossible. For Canada to become part of the US, it would require approval from both nations' governments and their citizens. And with Canada's overwhelming sense of national pride, that's not happening anytime soon. So was Trump just joking? A negotiating tactic? Or does he actually believe Canada should be part of the US? Either way, this bold claim just made an already tense situation even more complicated. Economic fallout and geopolitical ramifications. Trade wars don't just hurt politicians, they hit everyday people where it hurts most, their wallets. And Trump's latest move? It's sending shockwaves through the US and Canadian economies. Economists are sounding the alarm. These tariffs could trigger rising inflation, a GDP slowdown, and job losses on both sides of the border. Prices are climbing, businesses are scrambling, and industries are on edge. But who's winning? And who's losing? In the short term, some industries might benefit. American steel and aluminum producers? They're celebrating, but for sectors relying on Canadian imports like automobiles, agriculture, and energy, this is a nightmare. Higher costs mean fewer jobs, and fewer jobs mean? Well, let's just say people aren't happy. And here's where things get interesting. Canada isn't just sitting back and taking the hit. In fact, this might push them to strengthen trade ties elsewhere. With tariffs squeezing their exports, Canada could look to China, the EU, and even BRICS nations like Russia and India as alternative trade partners. Could Trump's America First policy end up pushing Canada further away from the US? And that's the bigger picture. Is this really about Canada? Or is it about something much bigger? Trump's America First strategy is all about reducing reliance on foreign economies, controlling trade, and reshaping global power dynamics. But could this backfire and leave the US more isolated than ever? One thing is clear. This isn't just a tariff war, it's a geopolitical chess match. What happens next? So, where does this escalating trade conflict lead? Are we on the brink of a full-scale economic showdown between the US and its key trading partners? Currently, both nations are holding their ground, but behind the scenes, intense negotiations are underway. The critical question is, will the US and Canada find a path to compromise, or is this just the beginning of a prolonged trade war? The situation has already drawn international attention. China has condemned the US tariffs as a wrongful and unilateral action, announcing plans to file a complaint with the World Trade Organization and promising countermeasures to protect its interests. This move signals that the trade conflict could expand beyond North America, potentially involving major global economies. As the dispute intensifies, everyday citizens will feel the impact. Higher prices, job instability, and economic uncertainty are becoming common concerns. Industries ranging from agriculture to manufacturing are bracing for the fallout. In the coming months, key developments to watch include the progression of US-Canada negotiations. Will a resolution be reached, or will tensions escalate? The potential for other nations to join in retaliatory measures against US tariffs, broadening the trade conflict. The real-world effects on consumers and businesses, monitoring price changes, employment rates, and market stability. This situation is more than a bilateral dispute, it's a complex web of global economic relations. The decisions made in the near future could reshape international trade dynamics for years to come. In conclusion, Trump's trade war with Canada has turned into a full-blown economic standoff, tariff for tariff, punch for punch. Both sides are digging in, refusing to back down. So, what happens next? Will this end in a diplomatic resolution, or are we heading for a trade war spiral that neither side can afford? And most importantly, who has the upper hand? Let us know in the comments below. This is just the beginning of a massive geopolitical shift, and we're covering it all. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss our deep dives into global affairs.